Alright, well, back in the car. Don't really have a good office space to record anything right now, so this works. We'll get there. This is kind of an episode 2 of what I did last time when I talked about the poem Sugar Rush and Depression. I think I'm going to be calling this, if I continue to do this, like, poetry and depression or something like that. Pretty basic, pretty simple, but... So this is episode 2. And today I'm going to be reading and talking about the poem that I wrote called Lemon. So here it is. Lemon. My lips can't pucker, they are too dry. The type of dry that catches my sweater and pulls thread and skin, and you will find pieces of me everywhere. Is it worth the squeeze? When my nails are red instead of yellow and my skin is more peel than melatonin, I'll let you know. So, this poem came from an interesting space that I was in. This last week was an interesting one in terms of both work, in terms of emotions, in terms of depression, in terms of medication, in terms of just kind of everything. And last Thursday, because I work Monday through Thursday, the job I'm at, I work 2 10-hour shifts, and so I have Friday, Saturday, Sunday off, which is really nice. It's hard to say no to that. So last Thursday, I kind of started having a revelation of sorts in regards to medication, depression, and just all that kind of thing like that. And so this poem, Lemon, the title originally came from this idea of like a lemon. It's like a lemon car or lemon, whatever. Something that's determined to be a lemon, so you've tried to replace it, you've tried to fix it so many times, and you can't, and so the lemon law kicks in, and you just scrap the thing and start over new. And I remember thinking that because I know I've struggled with depression, and I know even as much as I've said that I'm not broken, I'm just depressed, you're going to think those thoughts. You're going to have days where you just feel like you are broken, even if you're not. And because sometimes you just don't know any better, because sometimes the depression doesn't tell you any better or any different or anything, it's all kind of bullshit, really. Like, that's depression. And that's a lot of different mental states and whatnot. Like, they lie to you, and they're very good at lying to you. But what was interesting was as soon as I wrote down the title Lemon, the entire concept of the poem changed. And the reason it changed is because I had been thinking about being depressed. I can't remember the timing of all this, but I'd shared some stuff on Threads talking about how I felt like things were pulling away, and like I referred back to that kind of that saltwater taffy kind of thing, like that pull and stretch, which I talked about in Sugar Rush, and I wrote about in Sugar Rush. So that video is still up, and I'm probably going to start putting all this on my website so it's easier to find too, and have a separate section for it. I'm still trying to get a lot of this all figured out and what I'm doing and how I'm doing this, but I know this is what I like doing, so here I am. But so the idea of the pull and the stretch, because depression feels like it pulls things away from me. When I start going into a depressive state, the things that I enjoy, the things that I like, the things that I want to do, and the people I want to be with, depression starts to pull it away and pull them away. And most of the time, I can't fight it. And this last Thursday, I realized for the first time in essentially forever, I was able to pull back a little bit. I was able to kind of fight back. And so I had made even a comment in one of the posts on Threads about having a grappling hook, where it's like when things are getting further away or things have gotten too far and I can't necessarily reach on my own, I at least have the tool to be able to, throw out that grappling hook and be able to pull things back in and fight. And for the first time in probably forever, I experienced a very different kind of anger. I was mad. I was mad at my depression. I was mad about things that were happening at work. I have a friend and a coworker that got a better job and accepted a job, and that's not what I'm mad about. What I'm mad about is how my work treated him in response to that. It was not ideal, and it was not great, and it's a damn shame because he was a good worker. He did a lot for the company. He helped me out with a lot of things. I'm a proposal manager. He was my proposal coordinator, and we worked really well together. they just didn't pay him near enough what he was worth. And, I mean, I guess coming down to it, they don't really pay me near what I'm worth either, but let's just say I was a lot closer than he was. And so he got headhunted and found a job and went on his merry way, as he should have done. Like, I have no ill towards him, but he didn't necessarily want to leave. It was kind of a necessity. And so he talked to our boss, and our boss talked to the owners, and to see about, like, matching or getting close to matching the offer. And they just had radio silence. They didn't say a word. They didn't say anything. They didn't say one way or the other. They just waited and then popped their head in one time and just did this little thumbs up, thumbs down kind of thing. And Derek, my boss, was like, he's already accepted. And the owner just like shrugged and walked away. Like, how do you do that to people that have given you that much time, that have helped you win that much work? And so I was angry about that. And just some other stuff that's gone on at work and that kind of thing like that. And so a lot of that anger kind of built in. And then I've also shared on threads that last week was just kind of a weird, overwhelmingly emotional one. Like, I had a lot of days where I felt like I was just going to suddenly start crying. Like when you feel that pressure behind your eyes and you're trying to hold back grief, like the wave of grief, that's what it felt like. And there was no real reason for it. It's just what it was. And that's not necessarily tied to depression. At least it wasn't for me. At least not in this case. I don't know what it was tied to. But as I had therapy on Friday, I was talking to my therapist and I realized really what this poem Lemon actually meant to me. And what being able to fight back and to pull back against my depression meant to me. And realizing that, kind of like the movie Inside Out, where you have those different emotions that drive and have run the controls, I was very much being run by depression. But my depression was kind of a tyrant, and that depression wouldn't allow other emotions to take control or to be in charge. They all had to go through the depression, and so I always dealt with like diluted emotions. But this week, I kind of started to feel like pure emotion. So like, it was anger in the driver's seat. It was sorrow in the driver's seat. And they kind of kicked depression to the curb. And that was very overwhelming because I hadn't really experienced that before, And it's a good thing. Like, I know I've talked a little bit about threads. I've talked a little bit on some of the stuff that I've shared here. I think I talked a little bit about last time. I have treatment-resistant depression. I am on probably my 4th or 5th medication that we're trying. It's Rexulti now. It's an antipsychotic. It's a mood stabilizer. I'm taking it with Wellbutrin, which is an antidepressant because for insurance purposes you have to. Just up to my dosage. I've been on that increased dosage for a week, and this just happens to be the week that I noticed these differences. My therapist also mentioned that this is the normal amount of time where she normally would have seen me start taking a downturn when I was on other medications where they weren't working, and I realized that they weren't working. She did not see that this time. I don't feel that this time. So that's all really new. And it's kind of incredible. Like, it was kind of a revelation realizing that I can fight back. Like, normally when I start going into a depressive mood or a depressive state, the motivation to do things goes away because depression has stolen them. But this time, I wrote probably 4, 5, or 6 poems this week. I talked about it more on threads. I've been wanting to do this video. I'm doing this video. Like, that's a lot. Normally I would find reasons, or depression would find reasons for me to not do this. And so the simple fact that I'm sitting here recording this video right now and talking to you, it's a huge fucking win. And it's incredible. Like, I don't know any other way to put it. Like, it's amazing. And that's where this poem really kind of comes from. And that's where I've realized that this poem, it's not about being broken. It's not about that kind of lemon. It's about that squeeze. And squeezing so hard that your nails are digging into your palm. And my skin is more peeled than melatonin, I'll let you know. Because I now have like this such fierce and vicious determination to not let depression win. And I never had that before. And that's an incredible feeling. And it's like, I know I'm always going to be depressed. I will always have depression. It's not like that's going to go away. It's not like I'm suddenly cured. Because, like, there isn't really a cure. There's a chemical imbalance or whatever going on, you know? Um, but I can manage it because I'm not broken. I'm not a lemon. I have depression, but I think for the first time, my depression is starting to get managed. And that's an incredible feeling. And I'm going to continue talking about it. I'm going to continue writing about it. And hopefully you'll start seeing a little bit more of me now. Because I can start fighting back. And that's pretty damn cool. So, until next time, I appreciate you. Thanks.